Let's move on to 14.
First line west of 9th Street, 150 years to come home. Number 14, top 40 classic, told by our own. Number 14,
Yeah.
top 40 classic.
Age. I have the wrong people on stage. Hold on. Oh my God. It is so
Right,
here's
yeah.
what's funny. No, here's what's funny. So there's Claire. Who else? And there's Zach. So my son has been behind me. Like, he's like, it's raining. Can I take the car? I'm like, no, we live in Oregon. Get a jacket. Sorry about all of that.
That was good.
I was gonna say I liked that that lead up song. That was my top one so far.
That was powerful.
It was.
Yeah,
Kyle, well done.
Put some heft to that one.
All right. Go for it, Kyle.
Yes.
Kyle, and that song, it was you singing?
It just me giving a prompt or two.
Oh, okay.
So Louisville's West End is home to more than 60,000 people across 13 square miles. It's also one of the most systematically...
I swear to God, my son just threw me off. Kyle, go ahead.
Centuries of redefining and disinvestment have produced a life expectancy 15 years lower than the predominantly white neighborhoods just a few miles away. As the largest nonprofit healthcare provider in Kentucky, Norton Healthcare did something historic. They built a new hospital in West Louisville, the first hospital west of 9th Street in more than 150 years. The brief for Doe-Anderson was to mark the moment, but for a community deeply, justifiably skeptical of corporate healthcare, the brand couldn't tell its own story. So the agency handed the entire budget to a real West Louisvillian. Wow, okay. Imani Dennison, born and raised in the neighborhood, fresh from a residency in Senegal on her way to Stanford MFA, directed the resulting film. Doe-Anderson helped with equipment and crew, then stepped back. The film captures what the hospital means from the only perspective that matters. Not the film of a professional marketer would have made, but which is precisely the point. Placing at number 17, Norton Healthcare Documentary from Doe-Anderson.
14.
Yes.
We're just botching it all for you here today. And then I have to say, like, we're going to watch this work. I love the spirit of everything that's been done here. So let's take a look at it.
Growing up, I always questioned, well, why don't we have this? Why do we have to travel so far to get to these nice places?
A lot of folks say that they didn't think that they would see this in their lifetime.
The people of West Louisville deserve everything that they get. They deserve it all.
Every day, it's a beautiful thing to see and be here in West Louisville.
So, I mean, this is expansive, and I love the fact that the first person narrative, especially for you being in Louisville, as you were going through this, let's first talk about the brief, let's talk about the strategy, but then what you learned along the way during the process of this project, because it's outstanding. So let's start with the brief and the strategy and where you went from there.
Yeah, so we've worked with Norton Healthcare. I mean, they're a large healthcare network within Louisville, and they really kind of captured the moment. We've had a lot of, racial divide and awareness that has been brought to that in Louisville specifically. And so they really put their money where their mouth was and decided that they were going to be an example to the community and invest in West Louisville, which there hasn't been a hospital in that community for over 150 years, which is just crazy. I mean, there's no access for healthcare. It's one of the largest food deserts in the nation. And so, it was one of those things that as partners with them, we were really proud to do that. And, of course, we had to raise awareness, not just within that community. that there was a hospital coming to provide care for them, but throughout the greater Louisville area. And so with that, we could have done just a typical media plan. We could have done, some really heartwarming, touching spots and, out of home boards and all that kind of stuff. But we really thought, like, what would make an impact? What would serve as an example to other communities to do stuff like that? And that's where our creative team kind of came up with this really out of the box idea, which was, interesting to go to a client and say, we'd really like to do a documentary for this. And we'd like to hand it over to not to the ad agency, not for us, trusted partner, but to a partner in West Louisville that was, that knows the community and knows the stories and knows the people within that community. So she found a single mom and an urban planner. She went into a high school there that has a pre-med curriculum. And then, of course, a resident that actually is the chief medical officer and chief administrative officer at the hospital. So that's kind of the strategy around it. We wanted to make sure that we weren't telling the stories. We don't, I have not walked, in there. I don't live in West Louisville. But so, it didn't feel genuine for us to tell the story. We kind of gave them some guardrails, and then we really wanted to let Amani do the heavy lifting. And we thought that would make a much bigger impact.
So, yeah. And you made a great point about Claire. It just, you saw that this was such a wonderful opportunity to do something so incredibly unique. And the usual things that we would ordinarily do in this category just made absolutely no sense. So when you approached Amani, what was her reaction when you first approached her?
Well, it was one of those things because we had kind of sold the client on, like, we will do this. This is something we feel so passionate about that this is something, we have a in-house production crew that we will provide the rentals, we'll provide the support, audio, mixing, all that kind of stuff. But, it was really important to us that it wasn't just us getting paid for this. Like, we are hiring her, we will pay her to do this. Cause we didn't want to be, the corporate ad agency that was doing this and just leaning on a partner, that she really was, the one. So she was really interested. Zach, I don't know if you want to kind of give any other kind of point of view from Amani.
Well, I think a big part of it too is just the authenticity that she brought to the piece, and that was the whole point, right? And the big pitch on the creative side to the client. Normally, you're telling the client, this is how this is going to work, and we are going to be part of every little process along the way. Make sure you look this way. This was about authenticity to the community of the West Side, and so it had to be told by someone who was from the West Side, and we had to tell our client, hey, she's going to take this. This is what she does. She's a filmmaker. She's going to find these people. She's going to tell the story, but we cannot have our hands in this. That means you as a client as well. It has to just run, and we'll, of course, we'll see it. But that was the big takeaway, is finding someone who was authentic to the community and also had the skills and talents to bring the story to life. So
did you have, let me ask you this. Did you have an analog? So the client can be a little like, oh, this looks a little different. Did you have any analogs, any comparisons to maybe assuage any concerns? Not that there should be any concerns, because we're all professionals here. But did you point to anything?
Not particularly, not like a one-to-one, right?
Okay.
Here's some things that kind of are like this, but I mean, I think it speaks a lot to, like Claire and the partnerships we have with this client, that they trusted us and they trusted this process. So.
And one as part of kind of the pitch, we had looked at previous documentaries. I believe there's one, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's out of the UK, where they followed these people every 7 years of their lives.
Oh yes.
And so that was kind of some inspiration that our team took from, and was like, especially with putting this Louisville in the middle of, this crisis, that there will be outcomes that come out of this. There will be other businesses that then come into to West Louisville, that then it's important that they, grocery stores and banks and other access that these people need to different services. And so that was, we kind of looked at that, and we had talked about maybe following some of these people every year for the next couple of years or whatever, to see really what the impact was. But Amani felt very strongly on, like, the time is now. It isn't about like, hopefully all of this will continue to play out the way that we want it to, but we need to capitalize on this right now. We don't need to wait 10 years and document this throughout that. So, and once again, kind of back to her vision and how she felt about it, we were all on board.
This is a great example of talking with people rather than at people.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, that's so true. And you know what Kyle and I know about Doe-Anderson is the word that comes to, at least to my mind, and I think Kyle would, maybe co-sign on this, is the word care. And
bingo.
I think listen, every agency cares about their clients. But in what we've seen of Doe-Anderson, the word care comes up a lot in the way that we perceive you. And that's, I just, I love it because it's care for the client, care for the work, care for something bigger. And it just seems like it's part of the ethos of Doe-Anderson. So, it's just, what's the follow-up, I guess? and Imani, you said Imani's going to Stanford?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. She's getting her MFA at Stanford, and she has done a couple different, what are they called, Zach? Where they're I'm like blanking on it. She's gone over and done a couple programs over in Africa and then had a couple shows in Brooklyn too. So she's really all over the place, which was hard for us to, when it was time and in the moment of what we needed to do, also making sure that, because she's from here, she lived here, that she was here to do it. So we had to work around that too.
So when she wins her Oscar,
we're going to bring it back to you guys to show you.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I've seen similar.
Yeah.
I've seen similar. So no, it's really fantastic. And thank you to both of you for joining us. Thank you for enduring our little foibles this morning.
Okay. No, it's great. We've had a blast.
My son left in a huff. You know what? He's 6'2", 215. He can grow up. All right. But I love it. And always a pleasure seeing all of you. And looking forward to getting down to Louisville again soon. But thanks so much for the support.
Love to have you.
Thank you.